is the world's thinnest folding device at the moment. So of course people are gonna be skeptical or have their questions about durability. More precisely, the hinge itself. How can you make something so thin and still have a strong hinge? And what is strength and what is durability in the world of folding phones in general? Will a folding phone ever give you the same sense of confidence as a slab phone? Anyway, the Magic V5 is definitely a huge leap in terms of folding phone technology. When I first held this thing, I was just like, whoa, we are definitely in the next phase of folding phones, because in its unfolded state, that is impossibly thin. So this one is coming in at 4.1 millimeters unfolded. It comes in at 8.8 millimeters when it is folded, which puts it in a similar category to a variety of slab phones. For example, here's an iPhone, and you can see that's pretty wild. There's definitely kind of like a science fiction feel to it. And I hear you when it comes to your concerns about durability. At the end of the day, there's more moving parts here than there would be for a slab phone, and therefore you treat it a little bit differently. However, I was yanking on this thing like this, backwards on the pulley system. I don't suggest you try any of these things at home. I wouldn't do it unless they told me I could do it and it wasn't gonna break. And then I was like, all right, I'll try it. What they've done here by making the thickness very similar to a typical slab phone is they've made it so that when you're using it in this orientation, you don't really feel like you're using a folding phone. Your brain kind of forgets about that fact. And then you've got this bonus round when you've really got some time on your hands and you wanna get some work done. There is no slab phone that can replicate this experience. It really is like, you know, having a tablet in your pocket. I know with these folding phones, everybody likes to focus on the fact that you're kind of touching this soft display surface, but then there's also this effect of, particularly with OLED, where like it feels sort of more like you're touching the image rather than glass. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just immensely vibrant. The crease has also diminished in significance, especially when you're looking at it flat like that. When you have a bright or vibrant image, it kind of evaporates. Now, if you twist it a certain way, you can find it, but the thing is you don't look at your phone at that angle. Let's go ahead and check the other items in the box. So we've got our SIM tool. So we get a Type-C cable, and I guess there should have been paperwork in there, but I have a not for sale version of the device at this point, not quite retail, and we have had it for a while because we've been testing it and I've been lifting weights with it. They told me to do it. When they told me to pull on it, you can actually notice it kind of extends almost beyond the point of flat. That's almost a thumbnail there, Mo. You're done, you have your thumbnail. And I was nervous at first. I was like, what? I don't like that. I don't wanna go beyond flat. I don't like that, but no, it's fine. I don't know. Screen keeps working. It's capable of flexing to that extent and still having a perfect close. Man, they got this hinge, like this thing is squeezed tight. That sandwich right there, barely any gap and certainly no kind of angle to it, just a tight fit. On the bottom here, that's where your USB-C is, as well as your SIM tray. Of course, you've also got your speakers in stereo orientation. One of the best things about these folding phones, when you hold them in their unfolded state, you have one speaker on the left, one speaker on the right, and the distance between them is sort of more oriented to your two ears. Global version, we have Google stuff, Play Store, YouTube is on here. Look at that, native, out the box. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring up a video real quick.
Two things that really caught my attention. There was the Dragon gaming laptop, and then there was this,
Advanced.
the Vision X8.
Here we go, 2160p.
On the outside of the chassis. Why do you need that? You don't.
And this is the way you watch
Why
it.
do you want it? Because it looks extremely cool. And it actually does
It's
have
loud.
some functionality because it's kind of like having a second monitor. Core Ultra 9, 285. I think there's one on the inside too. Thermal paste.
How you gonna do that without that phone? Like, or even if you don't max out the screen, just getting access to like more stuff on the screen, multitasking if you choose, whatever you're gonna watch next if you choose. And I just realized something about this design idea of having this left speaker offset. You end up holding it like this, and then your hand cups that sound and almost like directs it back at you, just the way you hold it. You don't cover it. Yeah, it is pretty soft. Mo just referenced the fact that these corners are quite rounded. He's not wrong, especially as something gets thinner. You don't want those to get too pokey, do you? Let's go over some specs real quick. So you can get in a few different colors, but what's interesting to know and what you should know is that the white version is the thinnest. I thought that was unusual, but I guess this white finish lets them go a little bit thinner on this backplate to save 0.1 millimeters. If you get the black, dawn gold, or reddish brown color, then all of a sudden you go up to 4.2 millimeters. I don't don't think this is all that significant, but that 4.1 does allow them to call themselves the world's thinnest folding phone. They've still managed to pack a 5820 milliamp hour battery in here, a silicon carbon battery. Again, that's pretty impressive when you consider the thickness, the fact that you've got to split it. You can charge it back up over supercharge at 66 watts wired or 50 watts wireless, which is pretty good. And then Snapdragon 8 Elite, you have 16 gigs of RAM, 512 storage. This one here is 7.95 inches, OLED, 120 hertz, 5,000 nits of brightness, and your resolution is 2352 by 2172. This one is 6.43 inches, so still pretty large. OLED, also up to 5,000 nits of brightness, and a resolution 2376 by 1060. So the PPI here is pretty much equivalent. So the experience out here and the experience inside are going to be similar. 404 PPI versus 403 PPI. The other thing I notice here is there's stylus support. In fact, it now becomes the only one supporting that pen input. So yeah, pen holdovers, stylus aficionados, this is your guy right here. And there is some IP on this, IP58 and IP59. So 0.5 is quite wide, obviously. 1x, 2, 3, 6. And you see the AI has recognized there's greenery involved. We got plenty of megapixels to work with here. Now this is enhanced by the fact that we can look at it on a much bigger display to begin with. So all the way in, almost all the way in. 1x is fantastic anyway on its own, and then ultra wide we can get a lot into the frame here. Now because we're at it, why don't we get Mo to be our model? 1, 2, 3, 6. You might look at this and go, whoa, that's crazy. Like, look how big that camera dish is on the back. But what that gives you is optical versatility, not crop. There's Mo and his buddies if we need it. Full body, we got knees up, got the portrait range, and then you got the close-up. And I didn't move. I'm sitting in the same spot. That's the Honor Magic V5, and it is, at the moment, the world's thinnest folding phone.